Whenever a person has a case pending, whether or not it's a civil or a criminal case, and they're trying to work towards a resolution of the case, they're going to be confronted with dealing with offers from the other side and trying to resolve it. And it's really important that you recognize that anytime that there's an offer, you have the ability to make a counteroffer. But anytime that you make a counteroffer, what it is a rejection of the original offer. And it means that the person on the other side isn't required to hold that thing open. I know that that seems intuitive for some people. Obviously, there are some lawyers who understand this really clearly, but there's a lot of lawyers who don't seem to understand that whenever I go back and I talk about any of the material terms of that original offer, and I start having a discussion with the other side, what I've done is I've made a counteroffer to that original offer, and that offer is no longer on the table. I do see people in some instances, even in criminal cases, where those discussions are typically very fluid, where the original offer will say, no, you came back, you didn't accept that in time, and that offer's gone. And things can get dramatically worse for your client. Most of the time in criminal cases, that is not the case. Most of the time in civil cases, you can sort of negotiate over an offer without the original offer being pulled, but that's not always the case. And certainly not in, for example, plaintiff's cases where you're making a time-limited demand for policy limits. There can be severe downside repercussions as a result of those kinds of discussions. It's really important for the parties and for individuals who are in a case to know first whether or not you can negotiate over it without it being truly considered a counteroffer. It is under the law if you deviate from any of the terms in a material way. But that being said, there are some cases where you obviously can't even have a discussion over an offer. If, for example, you are in a real estate situation and you're negotiating over real estate terms, any sort of deviation is going to be considered a counteroffer, and that first offer that was made to you is a rejection of it. So it's important to know where you are, what the norms and customs are for cases, and how it is that any discussion about the terms is going to be handled.